and verse number 20th of the chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. And in that verse, Bhagavan was explaining in this last 3-4 verses, he's discussing about what kind of people are interested in the knowledge of the divine as it is. That is, having a Vedantic perspective and looking at God as not as an individual, not as a celestial being, but as the absolute truth, which manifests in everything and is everywhere. Whatever is happening, good, bad, ugly, that is a game, and God is doing it, but He's not doing it as an independent cricketer or a player. That is a kind of imagination that we have as common human beings, and we want to look for a culprit for something not going right in our life, and therefore we want to blame Bhagavan. And something good happens, we want to look for, okay, it's not maybe because of the fan or something. Is it better? Is it better now? The voice? Okay. I'm trying to come closer because the fan is running a little faster. It's very hot today here. So what Bhagavan is trying to say is that there are a lot of people who cannot think about me because their internal consciousness is not very clear, it's not very transparent. They haven't done a lot of punya karmas, because one way to purify a consciousness is in fact to perform right action and try to have a right understanding. These are only two things, two ways to have a clear, transparent consciousness: right action, right understanding. And right action you do not for the results of specific action of specific actions. Results will follow. If you take an examination, you are a hard work specific action of specific actions. Results will follow. If you self, you will definitely get the results. But you should understand that particular result is not what is exciting you. What is exciting you? What is exciting you is the possibility that you can have self-knowledge at the end of the day. Then Bhagavan says, you keep doing your work, focus your attention on me, and meditate and do all the sadhanas. And this process, slowly, your consciousness will be more and more refined. And when it becomes refined and transparent, it will adequately reflect the Suddha Chaitanya. It will be a good mirror to catch the truth of your existence. What does that mean? Because even your mind is the same Chaitanya, the Brahman is same Chaitanya, the Jada is same Chaitanya. These are different levels of existence depending on names and forms. That we have already discussed. The Bimba Pratibimba Chaitanya. And as we had discussed, that for Vachaspati Mishra, the Abhachedavada, little technical, but just try to listen and capture it. What he's saying is even God is delusional. He is also a Pratifalana, Maika. Ishvara is also Maika. What is Satya? Only Chaitanya Satya. This Chaitanya, it's like, for example, if the sun is getting reflected, you have a large lake and then sun is reflecting in it. So it will dazzle a lot. It will look like a large sun. On the other hand, you have a small cup of water and the sun is reflecting. It will look like a small sun because less amount of water is there. The whole cup will dazzle, the surface of that cup, because it's full with water. So it will look like a small dazzling piece of sun. Whereas if it's a lake, the whole lake will dazzle in sunlight at 12 o'clock in the midday. And then that dazzles. So it looks like a large sun there. Means Maya Upahita Chaitanya is Ishvara. That same Chaitanya, when it is having the name and form of Maya, you call it what? Ishvara or God. Same consciousness is captured in the Antakarana or with the Jiva, Avidya Upahita Chaitanya, ignorance. That you call what? At the Jiva level, you call it Jiva. Jiva Ishvara, it's one and the same thing, It's a difference in degree and quality, but they are inadequate reflections of the same absolute infinite consciousness, called what? Called Brahman, without name and form. So this is very beautiful thing. That is what Bhatasvati Mishra says. However, the Sureshwaracharya school of thought and Padmapadacharya, those who are Vivaranabadas, they talk about Pratifalana, the theory of reflections. For them, the Bimba Chaitanya is Ishvara. And this one Ishvara is reflecting Pratibimbita in all of us. So they are giving us. So, this is very much in, it's kind of, it sort of goes in tandem with the modern physics and newly thinking people who are saying that ultimately nothing can be proved to exist. So it depends on how you're looking at it, depends on how you look at it. Okay. So I'll just keep that argument there, because a lot of questions were asked in the group. Why God is doing this? What do you think these conspiratorial theories, a lot of wrong things are happening? Why this Kali Yuga? We will deal with all that. But Bhagavan, what is he saying it? Bhagavan doesn't do anything. I'm again clarifying it to you. He cannot do anything on his own. Now, is he bound by anything? No, he's not bound by anything. He has no interest to do anything. Our karma, whatever we have done, we are anadi. There is no beginning. And this whole cycle keeps repeating. Only a few smart ones who escape the net. The rest of the fish get caught in the net. They'll be reborn again. The smarter ones are very few. Among millions, Bhagavan says, there are very few who think about me. And then amongst those, there are very, very few who become liberated. So studying Vedanta doesn't guarantee liberation. Yeah, it guarantees one thing. You are on the right path. If you're on the right path, it may take a lot of time, but you are on your destination. You are on the wrong path, you're moving very fast. What happens to you? You are going faster away from your destination. That is why Bhagavan says, Kamais teiste hritayanaha. Those who do not understand this thing, that Vasudevam Sarvamiti, that kind of meditation, that everything is Bhagavan, it's not about name and form, that kind of a knowledge orientation, only my bhaktas have it, because a lot of punya karmas avoid a lot of births. Now he's saying the other guys will get into a lot of occult practices, and I can understand this is in Bhagavad Gita, because every religion will have few occult practitioners. That is nothing to do with the religion. If you take the Sankhya, Sattva, Tama, Rajas, these gunas are divided, and there'll be some Tamasika people, there'll be some Rajasika people. They'll misinterpret texts and they will apply it. They will do a lot of rituals. Okay. So, like for example, I'm not devaluing anything, because I myself I have participated in Saptasati Chandi. So they extract the symbolic meaning of it. So there is a mention about Rakta Bija, he sort of, any blood comes out of him, there is another Rakta Bija coming out of him. So every drop of his blood is a Karana Sarira for another Rakta Bija. So the Rakta Bija, who is it? It is your desire. It is the desiring mind, symbolically. Rakta Bija is no one else other than our desires in the mind. One desire, you try to fulfill, another 5, 10 desires are born. And you cannot kill it. And therefore, what Durga says, he calls Kali, who is a part of hers. He says, you start drinking the blood of this guy. When he gets hurt by us, every drop which is spilling out of his body creates another fighter. How do I deal with it? That means when you fight to control your desires, new desires are born. What to do? You have to remove desires from the very inception. What is the mother of desire? False understanding. So you remove false understanding. So that is a symbolic interpretation. However, when you're doing Chandi Patha and there is a Tantrika Puja, what they do, they'll mix, saffron, and they'll mix that with, or Rakta Chandana, they will say red sandalwood powder, that symbolizes blood. So they'll mix it with ghee and they will give sacrifice when chanting that stotra. There are different rules in Tantra. So, for example, they have these Munda Mala, Chanda Munda Baddha. So, at that particular, in the sloka, what are you offering? They have those, bare, those dry plums, those nuts, and then they'll make a small mala with a garland, and they will say sacrifice it into the fire along with ghee and halwa. Now, what are these things? These are symbolic interpretations. Good, bad, ugly, I don't know. What is meant there is, Bhagavan is saying that these rules and regulations you can do. If you are doing it only nishkama, only for purification of the heart, not a problem. Devi will give you that energy. And in fact, greatest of poets had taken the benefit of worshipping Ma Kali. That's one of the reasons. A lot of great intellectuals in Bengal and Mithila, they were all devotees of Divine Mother. Even in Orissa, in South India, they worship Divine Mother. Vedanta Disika, the Nilakantha, the greatest commentator on Vedanta, commentator on Mahabharata, he was doing Devi Puja, even though he was an Advaita Vedantist. So a lot of people do these upasanas, but if you are doing these upasanas as subservient to your aspiration towards self-realization, Bhagavan says no problem. Because actually then he in disguise actually is worshipping me. Because all these gods and goddesses cannot give anything without my approval. Because I'm the CEO, I'm the boss. So in Kena Upanishad, I just want to tell a small story. So there is this fight between Agni and Vayu, and Indra is who is bigger. And Param Brahma appears, is a Jakhya. And he, what he tells? Oh, really? You want to fight and figure out who is greatest? He puts a blade of grass and asks Vayu Devata, the Lord of Air, who can destroy these cyclones, everything. He calls this, right? He says, okay, move this piece of grass. Then he said, what? This piece of grass? You asking me to? I can move trees and mountains. Do you know who am I? I am the angelic power of air. I can destroy things in the form of wind. He says, fine, I understand that. Move this piece of grass. And he's not being able to move it. Then he asks this fire god, oh, really? You think you're very powerful? Burn this dry piece of grass. He cannot burn it. And then Indra looks at him, he vanishes. And Indra feels very snubbed that the Jakhya didn't even consider him any worthy of his attention, and he vanished. He just ignored Indra because Indra was full of ego, because he's a king of gods. What is the symbolism of that story? These gods and goddesses are fundamentally not true. They are also out of grace of the Param Brahman. They have taken these names and forms, and you give these karma kandas and pujas. But Bhagavan says if you get stuck with that, that will take you away from me. You do that. But if you do it because you need a little house, okay, you do a Vastu Puja, that's not a problem. You're going to examination, so you do a little puja of Bhagavan Ganesh. You have to do that. That's not a problem. That's as per Veda Vihita Karma. That is fine, not a problem. You're starting your studies, you're a student of music. I have seen in Delhi University, even the Muslims and Christians, whosoever is in the faculty of music, they celebrate the Saraswati Puja in a big way because that is their culture. They just worship, So greatest of musicians in India, irrespective of their faith, they call Ma Saraswati. That is a cultural tradition. But Bhagavan says, if you want to realize yourself who you are and understand that you are not different from me, you have to come to this royal path. This is the highway which leads you to self-knowledge and liberation. But if you want to get stuck with the subways, by lanes, you will go somewhere and you will get stuck in a forest if you don't know how to come out of it. You are going in the by lanes, but you are forgetting the end result which everyone aspires for in life. So you be careful. That is what he explained in verse number 28. Now, because of our limited consciousness, we sometimes attribute to God the results of our Papa Punya to him, that he has done this for me. Actually, no one has done anything for us. It's us doing it, but there is a supercomputer, if I can just give you that example. Without passing through that supercomputer, nothing is processed. In that supercomputer is the divine principle, or Param Brahman, or God, or Ishwar, or whatever name you give it. And whatever you are experiencing appears real because of a limited understanding. Once you open your eyes to the higher divine truth or possibility, then these fears, these anxieties, these depressions will slowly lose your attention. The way it captures your attention, that will lose its force on you. That is what is said in that, and he will explain it further. So what he says is, tang tang niyamasthaya prakritya niyata swayaha. So they will go to these gods and goddesses and do rituals. And as Nileji mentioned, that's also a very innovative way of looking at it, that we are confusing technological victory over nature. We have destroyed the forests. We have destroyed the ecosystem with the plastic thing, and then we are polluting. We are encircling ourselves with a poisonous ambience, a poisonous world, and then we are looking for happiness. Will you get happiness? You want happiness, you have a faulty understanding, and then you are creating what you call, you're creating your own adversaries, and you are saying, these are my best friends. And then there's a philosopher called Max Weber, so he used a word called unintended consequences. He said disenchantment is an unintended consequence of modernity, of bureaucracy, of documentation. All these technical perfections that we bring in. End of the day, we cease to have authentic human relationships with each other because we create big systems, procedures. We dehumanize this whole human world. Then we suffer alienation. That is what the German philosopher Max Weber, sociologist, a great mind. Unfortunately, he lost his sanity towards the end of his life. So he has mentioned very beautiful thing. So you can call it unintended consequence, but the truth of the matter is they are products of your karma, and we are paying a price for it. Okay, so this is what happens. Prakritya niyataha swayaha. However, he's adding a new twist to it by saying these gods and goddesses have no independent existence, number one. Number two, whatever results they give you are not permanent. They don't have permanent good value. They can give you, like, you invest in a very risky share price, and suddenly you have 2 days of benefit. But, this is a technical thing. If fundamentals are very bad, what happens to you if you stick to that share? You will make a lot of losses after some time. It's like you are unhappy and you watch tennis matches. I mean, we honestly, we all did that, right? During college days. So you are waiting for Wimbledon. That is the tensest period in your life because these are coinciding with your exam dates. So it's a very tense time. So you watch Wimbledon tennis matches. As soon as the match is over, you're back to depression because you have to prepare for your exams. You have to write your papers. So this is how you deal with your thing by diverting attention. Doesn't solve. Bhagavan says here, yo yo yang tanum bhaktah shraddhayarchitum ichchati tasya tasya chalam shraddham taneva vidadhamyaham. Then in the next verse, Sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasya radhanamihati labhati sa tatah kaman mayeva pihitan hitan. Then third sloka, we'll do 3, try to finish it. What is the time? How much time we have? I think we have reasonable time. We'll be able to do it. Antavantu phalam tesam tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan deva yojo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. So these 3 verses is essentially summing up the futility, the limited good that you are trying to get by getting into the by-lanes of spiritual sadhana. You want to be on the highway, it might look a little depressing, it might be a longer route, but remember, this is the assured path to self-realization. You are on the right path, there's no confusion. You get into the bypath, you don't know where to go. No Google Maps is with you. What do? You ask people, your gurus. He may be a fraudulent person. He'll say, you do this, you do that, give me this, I have this power, then you're gone. It's a very tricky thing. Okay, so therefore the Shastra is the best guru. There is no confusion because you are reading the Shastras, you are understanding, you are meditating, and then you are much more assured. You get into these secretive societies and gurus and practices that you will get quick results and powers. You may end up with heavy losses. That is what Bhagavan says. However, Bhagavan says, whatever phala they get or result they get thereof by doing worship of these demigods is again happening with my approval. Why? Because I'm Vishwaniyanta. Whatever happens, the supercomputer processes it. The result they get is a result of what karma they have done. They will get an honest return. You invest in anywhere, you will get a return on it. Some bad or good, depends on the market situation and how that share was supposed to perform. Similarly, Bhagavan says, yo yo yang yang tanum bhaktaha. Whosoever, yo means yaha, jo admi, yam, any god, demigod, that tanum, this murti. Because why he's using this tanu? Because it's a Advaita Vedanta text. So Vasudeva is Nirvikara, Niskala, Param Brahman. That is what we are having in mind. Now these are gods and goddesses' names and forms. So you can also extend it to include maybe business or maybe having a big farmhouse, anything. Small ends of life. If you are doing it, okay, I want to do it for my basic economic needs. I want to use it for the larger purpose of my social and economic security so that I can do sadhana, not a problem. Depends on your attitude. If your attitude is faulty, you end up in problem. Marriage not a problem. Business not a problem in Vedanta. Nothing is a problem. You need to see whether it's aligned with your ultimate spiritual goal or not. If it's aligned, and how it can be aligned? With right kind of attitude. You see all these as temporary engagements out of which you will gradually move forward. Then there is no problem. There is no attachment. You're going to an office and there are 4 boys and girls working. If you know you're going to the office and you're looking for a promotion, there is not a problem. You get emotionally involved with somebody, a fight with another person, these are all problems. That's not a family. But you're confusing that as a family. So obviously you suffer some emotional problems. That is how it works out. Tanum bhaktaha sradhyarchitum ichchati. Whosoever, because of their shraddha in that particular dharma, that particular practice, out of their commitment to that, out of their attachment to that, architum. Actually, grammar with the nich pratyaya, it should be archayutum. But it is architum. He's saying when the nich is not there, you can have this form which grammatically looks a little infirm or weaker. And that Madhusudan Saraswati will explain. Swadhya architum ichchati. Tasya achalam shraddha. I stabilize in bhakta. He wants to play tennis. So, there is a very good, it's this mosquito repellent guy is making that noise outside. We have to live with it. So I'll just come a little closer to the computer. So what he's trying to explain is that, so there is a teacher. The father is a mathematics professor. And he finds that one of his sons is more inclined to study literature. He cannot teach literature. But then he's the father. What does he do? He says, okay, so what do you want to study? He said, Dad, I want to study German literature. Then he finds a guy who can teach him German literature, sends him there, supports him so that he can score very good in the examination. He can pursue an academic career in German literature and philosophy. But the father is a professor of mathematics. He doesn't value all that. And he knows that what he's doing, he has a clear purpose as to why he's doing it. My son wants to enjoy this, he allows him. The other daughter, she wants to be a dancer. The father says, are you sure? Because I could help you become the greatest mathematician. The daughter says, no, Dad, I want to dance. The father says, okay. So he finds a dance teacher, engages the daughter there. That's how Bhagavan says, I am the one who stabilized their bhakti, their shraddha, their interest, their good attitude for those practices. Because that is their karma. I don't want to interfere with it. Now, there is one thing interesting which separates God from parents. In children, your parents will generally ask you not to do this or that. Why? Because they have an interfering nature. They think they can guide you. They can modify your conduct. They can modify your destiny. help you do better things in life. God is an interesting kind of parent who absolutely doesn't interfere, in fact, allows you to do whatever you want. And you suffer, he doesn't, he just has compassion. He can't do anything, because that is how there is a dangerous eliminator. So parents we get angry with, but they are a little more attached to us. God, all of us are his children. And then he knows, if we think about God, we are talking about Ishvara, Maya Upaita Chaitanya. He knows these idiots or these good guys will do whatever they're capable of. And so today I was listening to the beautiful story about Mira Alfasa, a mother in Pondicherry. So she found that there was one evil energy was playing some mischief, and he was creating conflict. And she asked him in meditation, "Why are you doing this? Why don't you do something better? You are a celestial being, I understand, but why do you do this?" He said, "I only know one thing, how to throw stones, and that's what I can do. I don't have a higher understanding." That spirit answered to her. What does that mean? Even these celestial beings, whatever they are, if they are, they also have their own limitations and possibilities, and they are also limited by avidya or ignorance. So whatever appears as their power is actually their limitation. And that also applies to these demigods. They cannot give Atmajnana, they cannot give liberation. They can give you these silly things, a few siddhis, which will create a burden on your consciousness, and we cannot further progress. So initially these things might be very attractive, they might frighten us, but you go closer to them, you will not feel very inspired. I have seen a lot of tantrics, you go closer to them, you never feel spiritually inspired. I, for myself, never felt inspired. I never felt attracted either. If you go to Tarapet or you go to a couple of other places around Bengal or in Assam, Kamakhya Pet, you go there, you'll find these tantrics are there. But if you look at them, they appear very depressed people. They never appear luminous. Why? Because they are actually not targeting a very higher possibility. They are targeting lower possibilities, and that's why their life is what it is. They may be of very good use to others, to help and heal others, and those things might be there, but they are very helpless people. Okay, so how Shankaracharya explains it: Yaha kami yang devata tanum, whatever devata and their murti devata, Shraddhaya Sanyukta Bhaktaha cha san. And then he's a good bhakta, he has Shraddha, he has affection for that deity, Architum Pujaitum Ichchati. He wants to do some worship. Tasya tasya kaminaha achalam stiram Shraddham tam eva vidadhati stiri karomi. I am the one who stabilizes. Even if you want to do any gods and goddesses, demigods, and you want to do those pujas, like in Delhi, for example, there are some Vairav temples, and you go there, they offer alcohol. It's very funny. They offer alcohol as puja, and he'll return a little prasad. So he'll put something. I've seen some people also sit and drink it. There, these are those Bhairav temples, tantric temples. And then think that I said, why? If you go there, what happens? He says, if you go there, and then if somebody is trying to harm you in your office, he will be punished. And this ignorant mind, it gives you a sense of peace if you go there, because you are dealing with ignorance. So in the darkness, if somebody says, "Where are you?" in the dark room, do you know how to come out of it? No. Okay, kick the wall 4 times. Why? No, because if you kick it 4 times, then the door might open. You are helpless, so you do it. You might hurt yourself, but you're doing it because you don't know what to do. You need to find out the door, then you can come out. Then a lot of other funny things which are advised, you can do it, but no escape. So that is how Bhagavan says. Now, the next verse. Yatha eva purva prabhuttah swabhavata yo yong devatatanam shraddhaya architum icchanti iti. And these people have their own prarabdhas, their own interests, their own sanskaras, and therefore they want to do it. I don't interfere. I shall permit them, in fact, to complete the course of their pujas. That is what Bhagavan says. Next. Sa tatha shraddhaya yuktas tasya radhanam ihate. Sa taya. In that, doing that puja with the help of that shraddha, that upasana, that guy, who? This particular sadhaka. Taya yuktas tasya radhanam. And that devata, tasya devata is strilinga in Sanskrit. Like dara is three. Wife means dara, but it is pullinga and bahuvachana. Sanskrit is a very complicated language. So yuktaha tasya radhanam ihate. Radhana here means aradhana. The ang upasarga is silent. It is not visible. Therefore, radhana means aradhana. Pujan arth mein, upasana arth mein. So vihit iham ihate. I only guarantee and happens. Lavate cha tatah kaman maiva vihitan hitan. And the results thereof he gets. Can he get any follow without my approval? Anything which happens, can it happen? Even a blade of grass moves in this universe without my approval? No. Why? Because I am the adhishtan of everything. I am the niyant of everything. So you go to any damn small officer and he signs the paper. Like anyone, doing anything in England is doing in the name of the Queen. Anything, any decision, government of India is happening in the name of the President. Similarly, everything happens in the name of God. That Bhagavan says, he also gets those results. His desires, he fulfills. Vihitan, hitan, whatever is vihita, whatever he's supposed to get. Now Shankaracharya will explain a little more. Let's read it. So taya, mad vihitaya. By what? That Shraddha, that bhakti he is doing. And that is what? Who has approved it? Me. Why? Because I have fixed some rules and regulations. If a person plays so many hours of tennis, he might get 2 cups. Grand Slams 2. Failure 4. This, and I mean, these are the karmas and they will get those results. It's all fixed. So he will get it. And Sadhya Yukta San. Tasya Devata Tanva Radhanam Aradhanam Ihate Chestate. And then whatever I approve, he gets it. Labhate cha tataha tasya aradhitataya devata tanva kaman ipsitan maya eva paramaswarena sarvagyena karma phala vibhagagyataya. Because I am the one who knows karma phala, what is the secret of karma. Human beings cannot understand, difficult for them. But the supercomputer processes all the karmas and it prescribes. There is a certain complex program called the divine principle of the karma theory, out of which the computer sends out a slip. You will get X, Y, Z. You have done so many karmas in this past life, this is what is going to happen to you during this life. As a result of this, you get some results. Some good acts you do, so you will get some results. Because I am the Vishwaniyanta. Remember again, I'm alerting because we are Vedantis. These are all imaginations. Fundamentally, we have to do our karma to purify, but don't feel fatalistic, because it makes you think that you're kind of bound up by one superior power and you have no escape. The purpose is not to have that. To understand that it gives you that power to liberate yourself by virtue of good action and right understanding. That sort of gives you an opportunity to meet yourself, to discover yourself, not feel let down, not feel restricted, not feel limited, not rendered desperate and kind of excluded from a good life. No, not that way. We should not think that way. That's what Bhagavan says. Vihitan nirmitan tanhi yasmat te bhagavata vihitaha kamaha tasmatan avasyam lavete ityarthaha. So, whatever coursework you do, you will get a degree. You want to be an engineer, you'll be an engineer. You study law, you'll become a lawyer. You will become a legal counsel. Depending on what course you are doing, you will get a degree, and that will determine what kind of job world you're going to enter, what kind of society or friend circle you're going to have. All these things follow. So it's simple as that, Bhagavan says. So whatever Shraddha or Bhakti or Sadhana this fellow does to go into different kind of demigods, whatever, secular or religious, he will get some results based on the rules of the game called karma theory. Through the Vishwanyanta, the supercomputer, we call God. That is what it is. However, these results are very temporary in nature. Why? Even the gods who are approving this are also Amtavan. They themselves are temporary. Do you know? The fire god, the Indra, these are all temporary people. When there is pralaya, these people vanish, including Brahma. Brahma also doesn't. There is a story, it's a very beautiful story. Once Brahma got angry, so he said, I'm going to go on leave. So he ran away. He did not want to do creation. And then Vishnu created a Maya, a Leela. Then he saw that there was one guy who was he's pulling a lot of carts led by these camel pull carts. And each cart has one or two huge boxes. And this guy who is kind of leading all these camels, he's leading that whole caravan. And Brahma goes in disguise and says, what are you doing here? Where are you going? He says, I'm going to Lord Vishnu. He said, why? Because he wants to appoint a new Brahma. And who are these people? Now, these people have done a lot of punya karmas, and now these are all Brahmas in waiting. Now, how many of them? Let's just 30, 40. So there'll be a selection process, and we'll figure out who can be the best creator. And then Brahma says, okay, no, let me rejoin my job because he'll fire me otherwise. There are so many Brahmas. Now, yes, they are always waiting. Once the current Brahma is thrown out, they'll get the Brahman place. And then Brahman and Brahma are two different. Okay, Brahma is that guy who creates us. That's that's Sutratama. That's the Lord, that Ishvara, and he creates this. That Hiranyagarbha and Brahma and Prajapati, these kind of words are used. These are lower levels. This is not Brahman. Now, why we are talking about it like this? That these demigods are temporary. Indra is temporary. Yes, he was actually a human being who did a lot of puja and upasana. He did not look for moksha. He wanted power. He went to Swarga. He either became a devata or became Indra. The problem is that he can get moksha if he gets jnana. So Indra goes to Prajapati and he had a long dialogue in Chandogya Upanishad and he got moksha towards the end. There will be another person to replace him as Indra. That is the theory. Indra's change. Sachi, the wife, remains the same. Indras keep changing. So, because this is Prakriti and these guys keep changing. So then he's saying that these gods and these demigods that we worship are themselves of temporary nature, and the benefits they can give us is also very temporary. How he explains it. Antabhattu phalam tesam tad bhavati alpamedasam. These guys are stupid who are doing this worship. They have a limited understanding of what is spiritual sadhana, and therefore they get into these small practices to get some quick results. But these quick results might come quicker, but they also vanish quicker in terms of what profit or benefit can they render to you. So these are like, you spend a little money and you want happiness. So what does it mean? You can buy an ice cream. So that's the happiness you can have in life for 100 rupees. You can buy a very good ice cream. That's all. So he's saying, Antavattu phalam tesam tad bhavati alpamedhasam, of these guys who are, dumb, a little dumb people, slow-minded, and they think this is the best path. They will get some limited results. Devan deva yajo janti, and therefore they worship these gods. That means they will be on the path to realize some benefit by this process of propitiating demigods. Now, in a secular philosophical, you can say that whatever you pursue in your life, you'll get some success. Whether that gives you happiness or not is your problem. Nobody's concerned with it. If you're doing it as a limited thing and you have time and space and some perseverance left in you to engage in real spiritual practice within, then the outside success or failure will not affect you. But if that is all your life, you may be happy or sad depending on your karma and how you are moving, but you will be on that path. And those who want self-realization, they do this jnana yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga. I give you mad bhakta yanti mam api. My devotees come to me. And who am I? I am not good. They will follow and go to those devalokas. Yajanti iti devajagyaha te deva janti. They go to those gods and goddesses. Mad bhakta janti mam api. And they come to me. And what is me? I am that. And they'll come me means they'll come home. I'm the final destination. And I'm the God of gods. Evam
Samane api ayase mam eva na prapadyante ananta falaya aho khalu kastam partante. Bhagavan is saying, my God, these innocent guys, how stupid they are. If they could actually spend that much of time in a little study of Vedanta and a little meditation on the Atma and Vasudeva Sarvamiti Jnanam, then they could be on the path of light. They could be on the path of self-realization. However, and they are doing much more hard work. It's same work, no karmas, no rituals, no material, no money, nothing is required. What is required? Right attitude, right understanding, and karma without craving for results. Less ego, open-heartedness, and the advice is all clear. We have discussed that in chapter 3 and 2 and 4 and 5. We have all dealt with it, and we'll deal with it again in future in chapter 14 and 16. Evam saman api ayasa, even though they do the same struggle, mam eva, na prapadyante, but they don't come to my path. So they study something different from what I teach. So they don't get the result of what they will get if they study what I teach. That is Ananta Falayo. This is Ananta Phala because it's not Antavan. Atma Gyan has no end. Once you realize that Atma Gyan, you are free. And therefore it's not Antavan, it's Ananta Phala. But this Ananta Phala they don't want because they want quick results, which may be very temporary in its impact. Hello, custom, but oh my God, they suffer so much. Iti anukrudham darsayati Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is kind of mentioning because it's like our parents or teachers are a little angry with us because they think we can do better. They shout at us, so they get angry with us, isn't it? They can do it. Similarly, here Bhagavan is mentioning, he's kind of explaining his frustration with us, saying that you are a bright student and you are Atmagyan, you are capable of doing this, but why do you behave in such a stupid fashion? That is what is disturbing Bhagavan. That is how he is mentioning it. We have another 10 minutes, and with that, I think we'll be able to finish Madhusudan Saraswati because at one go we did all 3 verses with Shankaracharya. Then we'll do the same 20 and 22nd and 23rd. We'll try to do Madhusudan Saraswati as much, and we'll cover it up tomorrow. So yo yang tanum tam eva vidadham yaham. So madhye, among all these bhaktas, those who are doing other demigods and others, madhye yoha kami, those who have those desires, these are kamanas, therefore they go to these demigods to get quick results. Yam tanum devatamurtim sradhaya janmantara vasana vala pradurvutaya, because they have these powerful desires in them which they want to fulfill, and therefore they will go to these demigods and occult practices. Bhaktya sanyukta, and they have the devotion. They want to do it because they want some result there. Sanjukta Hasan, Architum, Archaitum Ichati. Architum means what? Archaitum. They want to do the pujana because they will get some power, election, results in election. A lot of these politicians go and do the Tantra pujas to win elections. And for business success, they do these occult practices. That is what he's mentioning, Pravartate. And then he's explaining the grammatical part, Choradikasya archayate nich abhavapakhe rupam idam. There are this dasa ganas in grammar, like bhavati, bhavati, bhavatah, bhavanti. Similarly, churadi gana is there. So this archa pujayam dhatu, that archa itum, rinjant, that is the rupa, that is how it should happen. But here, if it is not nij, that pratyay is not there, you can write architum. That is how he's explaining the grammatical deviation from the standard pattern. Tasya kaminaha tam eva devatatanam prati. And all these people with desire, ye kami purusha hai, devatatanam prati shraddha, purva vasana vasat. Why they have this devotion? Because they are jnanis? No, they are ajnanis. And devotion because they are really devoted people? No. They have some quick result to get. Also, not great things to achieve. Practices. So they get into it because their previous hidden desires are there. They want power. They want X, Y, Z. So bhakti machalam stiram vidadatim. But I don't mind. I have seen enough of these people. They are good, bad, ugly. I have seen, like a teacher. If you try to disturb him, he's a very old teacher. He smiles. He says, I have seen a lot of mischievous boys who are much more mischievous than you, I have corrected them. I'll not let you be mischievous. Many teachers are there. They actually are able to correct the students because they know how to handle these children. They understand children's psychology very well. Bhagavan is similar, and he says, I give them whatever result they want. Hiram bidadhati koromi iha antaryame, because I am everywhere, including these gods and goddesses. Whatever they are giving to their bhaktas actually approved by me. Not to mad visayam sraddham tasya tasya koromityatha. Just because I am the boss of everyone, I don't want to divert them to me. Why? They are turning to me, they are turning to Vedanta is not my business. They are turning to meditation. They are turning to this highway of self-knowledge. It's not my business. Why? That is their punya karma. Haven't I explained to you? Somebody is teaching you some very advanced physics, and there are people who don't understand basic mathematics. Why they don't attend the class of this professor of higher physics? Is he bothered? He knows what he teaches can be understood by few people. And therefore he says, I am not at all interested in diverting the attention to me because I am available to only people having Shuddha Antakarana, transparent consciousness. And this transparent consciousness, my friends, Bhagavan has made it clear, it's a result of right action and correct understanding, which has been nurtured and has been magnified and has been, kind of honed to perfection over different births. A little achievement made during specific births finally has kind of matured in the form of transparent consciousness when a bhakta is able to meditate on me without further confusion, without doubt. Other guys will not come to me. For them, it's a boring, fruitless path. They are interested in fruits of their action. They'll go there. I have no confusion. I'll not distract them because they are not ready yet. And I have my compassion for them. I am the Vishwaniyanta, everyone is my child. So I allow them to have what they want. Tameva Sradhamiti Vakhyane. Yat Sabda Anvayaha. Yat Sabda Anvayaha Spastam. Spastah Tasmat Pratisabda Adhyahritya Vakyatam. This is again an academic point that Madhusudan Saraswati gets stuck with each and every. So, for example, yo, yo, yam, yam, that word is mentioned. Therefore, he's saying, Bhagavan is absolutely not saying that he'll try to pull them towards him, but he is clarifying that whosoever follows what will get some result in that specific context of his devotion and spiritual sadhana. That was the first verse. And we have 5 more minutes for the next verse. I think we'll be able to do it. Sataya Sradhya Yuktas Tasya Radhanami Hate Lahati Sa Tatha Kaman Mayeva Vihitan Hitan. I don't only stabilize their devotion there, the result they get also is approved and given by me. How Madhusudana Saraswati explains. Sakami Taya Mad Vihitaya. And that person with desire, specific intention to do the puja follows a certain pattern. Is written in Shastras. Who has written the Shastras? Panditas or some intellectuals. And how do they exist here? Without my approval? No. Speak. I don't interfere in a visible manner. Doesn't mean I don't exist. Because anything exists because of me. I am the foundation on which everything is orchestrated. I am the stage on which all dance numbers are being played. All dancers are taking credit. But I remain the best. Sankalpa with good rituals and puja with proper format gives the result. And therefore that will be born. Now you have money and you take a designer or an architect and you build a house. Then you find this house I don't like. But who created it? You have built it. Is anyone responsible? You will get the exact design which you had given to the contractor, the architect. You had given him the design, so he is giving you the house. Similarly, Bhagavan says he gets it. Vihitan purva sankalpitan hi prasiddham maya eva sarvajnana sarva karma phaladaina. So I am the sarva karma phaladain. Whatever result we get is coming to us through his approval or her approval. Tatta Devata Antaryamina, because I also exist on all these gods and goddesses. Because I'm Sarvavyapta, I'm everywhere, including human beings, also gods and goddesses. So therefore, what is this game all about? It's all my game. So whatever they're getting through these gods and goddesses is also has to be understood as being given by me. Vihitan tat tat phala vipaga samay nirmitan. And then when the work, vipaka means phala. And whenever this karma matures, he successfully completes it, he gets that phala. And that is given to him. Hitan mana priyo anityeka padyam va. There is a bit of discussion about this hitan. Is it a good thing they're getting? And Shankaracharya has also denied it. No, no. Hita Sabda doesn't mean here good. Hita Sabda is essentially meaning what he thinks is good for him, but it's actually a temporary thing. It's not a permanent thing. So whatever he latches onto, he celebrates as a point of his victory, could be a point of defeat. But he thinks that is what is good for him. Therefore, Bihitan, that Hitan word he's using. Ahitatvepi hitataya pratyamana anitya pratyamanani pratyamanan ityartha. So it will appear, this is anitya, but it appears as if it's nitya, and it is mangalamaya for him. That is his problem. We stop here because the next verse, I think we have finished, no? Yeah, the verse 23. We will do the details tomorrow. A couple of lines left. We will do that tomorrow. So I'll stop here, and if you have any questions, you can ask. And I'm stopping the YouTube because we are crossing now.